So I want to talk about three basic things. First, pray the truth. Prayer is a mighty force for good. Some people doubt the efficacy of prayer. But I have witnessed and seen how prayer consciousness shifts the entire field. I have seen how when moving into the presence and aligning in that presence, as we align with the truth, that the person, for example, with whom we are praying, seeing them as whole already, seeing them as that divine presence of the Christ already, seeing them as perfect and whole, not somebody that we need to fix, not somebody that we need to do something to, but we are acknowledging in our consciousness that this person is whole. And when we do that, it begins to vibrate. It sets up a resonance like a tuning fork. And as my tuning fork begins to resonate to the truth of who they are, their tuning fork, their spirit, catches that resonance and begins to vibrate at that same frequency so that they know the truth of who they are. That's how prayer works in a very simple explanation. And so when I bring up Madagascar, Bangladesh, this is a time for us to be holding that consciousness, because our consciousness, our prayer affects the entire field. Carl Jung talked about the collective unconscious. Charles Fillmore talked about race consciousness, and what he was talking about was the consciousness that the human race is creating by our thoughts, by our consciousness. Michael Beckwith describes it as being like in the story of Noah before there was a great flood. It talks about this mist that covered everything, and that this mist is like that consciousness of pea soup that we live and operate in, because a lot of people are holding the consciousness of lack, limitation, not enoughness. I'm not enough, you're not enough. So it's based in fear. We can create by the power of our consciousness, by aligning with the divine truth of what each and every one of us is, that we are that Christ, the Son of the living God within us. By focusing on truth, it has much more power than the darkness. As we pray, as we affirm, as we know the truth of what we really are, the walls come down. I don't know if you know this story in the Hebrew scriptures about these walls, this big fortress, and they wondered, how are we going to get in? Well, they marched around it, and they held the consciousness that the walls would come down, and they did. Prayer is a mighty force for good. And next weekend, on November 13th and 14th, Reverend Deanne is going to be leading a powerful experience that will be live and online. Our first real hybrid interactive class. It will be live here in the sanctuary and online, to go deep into the power of affirmative prayer that I'm speaking of. Unity teaches in its principles that prayer, our consciousness, has the power to create. We have that power within us.